I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised to see Scarlet here. Not somebody who we normally see in ESL Open Cup Asia. Normally, when she does participate, it's more in ESL Open Cup NA, but yeah, I guess it is summer over there in Canada, so that screws with the sleep schedule a little bit.
I was gonna say that we haven't seen a lot of her just because she hasn't been in Korea for a long time. But from my understanding, I believe she's currently in China. I believe she is currently visiting, and I think she's been there for like a week or two or something. So it's like of the time zone.
Ah, okay, there we go. Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be seeing a little bit more of Scarlet here in the ESL Open Cups.
Yeah, really.
I'm torn if we
really?
I'm torn if I should continue or if we should do the intros.
It's all good. It's all good. We do love to see it as we are diving into our next series.
Here we go. Gonna be kicking things off here on Golden Aura and a little bit of a ZVP, where we're here in the top left-hand corner of the map, swinging all the way in. The top left, we of course have our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is of course going to be representing Team Falcons. He is the sexy boy himself. It's Rogue.
That's not the sound of a falcon, yeah. That's not what they sound like.
Is it not?
No.
I only have woo birds where I'm at.
Ah, I see. You have no reference.
I have no frame, yeah.
It's funny. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic.
Just to complete the thought that I had before we really get into our game, it's a little unfortunate here for Cyan. We do have the conclusion of that very intense rivalry between him and Coffee in the past couple of weeks. Try rack up those EPT points, but it's all been locked in, it's all been calculated, and Coffee did come out slightly ahead in EPT points, so he will be the other player from the Asia region, other than Oliveira, moving on to the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, Coffee is going to be the one advancing on, so my heart goes out to Lancer, but, you know, again, still undeterred, still competing week after week, still looking to improve. Again, there's still more events to come. WTL, of course, is still ongoing, and I'm sure many other events on the horizon as well. So, yeah, that's why it's really cool to see Lancer still competing, despite not being able to be a part of EWC.
Yeah. Got to show his son that, you know, Protoss, it's a good race.
There you go. There you go. As we are settling in the chat too. I see Babyling in the chat that she's been there for a month studying Chinese for a year. Oh, okay. Sorry. I assumed it was only going to be for a short period, but apparently it's going to be an extended stay.
There we go. Unfortunately, we weren't quite able to teach Scarlet enough Mandarin before going over, but yeah, I guess she's been. We know Mandarin.
You?
We know some Mandarin. Yeah, we know some Mandarin.
What are you talking about? You don't know any Mandarin. What do you mean?
I know some Mandarin. I know the swear words. That's all you really need to know.
You failed Mandarin.
Okay, excuse you. I failed Mandarin 12 times in my life before they finally let me drop it as a subject.
Oh my god. Okay. You know what, Yaku? No one can take that away from you. That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Like, okay, you failed Mandarin. I failed 12 times. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And you know what? I didn't fail a 13th.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I dropped it, but...
Yeah. Ain't no one gonna make you fail 13 times. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Oh, God. But regardless, it is really cool here. Really cool to hear that she's going to be over in the land of China for some studies, and that does mean that we may see some more and more of Scarlet's play here in the ESL Open Cups in the Asia region, which is, I mean, we're more than happy to embrace. But for now, we're settling into our builds, settling into our ZVP, and so far, standard openers. Oh!
Yeah, double Oracle coming out here from Classic. Was forced to utilize some of his Pulsar energy back home in the defense, but now he goes across the map a little bit unhindered, and yo, gets 7 drone kills. Pretty good.
7.
Oh! A little bit of unfortunate miscontrol here from Classic. It looked like that Oracle was A-moved for a second, so it turned around to attack a queen before moving back home, and
Yeah.
that was just enough distance for these queens to get their volleys in.
It was almost clear skies there for that Oracle, but alas, does go down in the end. So it was some good damage out of Classic, don't get us wrong, but that was 700 to 1 Oracle. That's more or less a more even trade. So now Rogue has that much less to worry about. Queens are getting in position. Adepts, they do shading towards that natural base. Boys do get pulled away in time, but the Adepts can get some worker damage done. Up.
Little bit. That's an 8th drone going down here for Rogue. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get a 9th.
Yeah, it's going to be 8 working heals so far. Stasis trap into the main. We have another stasis trap in the back line. We don't quite commit to it. Another drone going to be going down.
Oh.
Not bad damage here out of Classic. And behind this, we're working towards our next step, working towards Blink and +1.
Like so. Oh, a little bit of an earlier Templar Archives coming up from Classic. That's an interesting variation here. Oracle barely makes it out here alive. Unfortunately, not quite able to throw around Stasis Port, though.
Oh yeah, Stasis doesn't quite complete. Oracles are fended off. Behind this, Rogue getting into his 4-way setup. Oh my god, I think we didn't miss the Stasis here.
That's a long idle.
I'm hoping that was a Stasis, not a random hold position, but that was a little bit brutal there for Rogue. Is going to attempt to recover, but Classic has been building up towards his Blink Stalkers. Blink is almost done. I'm sure we're soon going to be hitting the field with our army.
Yeah, getting towards it. Well, potentially, as Classic's actually slowing down a little bit, not looking to hit a +1 timing just yet. Anyway, getting that 4th base, getting Storm as well. This is not really something we see too often in PvZ. Obviously, a lot of PvZ does end up teching towards Storm eventually, but not quite this early.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is a lot more of a defensive passive style out of Classic, a little more tech heavy. As you just mentioned, right, we've been skipping warpins. We focus and prioritize at 4th base. We tech up into Storm, into Immortals. So Classic is taking a much more defensive approach here, which is something we don't often see from him.
Yeah, normally when I think Classic, at least in PvZ, I think back to, obviously, that legendary series he had against Rogue, specifically, back in BlizzCon 2019, where he did throw out all of the tricks from the Protoss Dirty Book, DTs and everything like that. He is a little bit of a trickier player in that regard, just tries to pull a fast one on his Zerg opponents, but here, Classic is just playing straight up macro, is just playing straight up passive, and is just saying, if we get to the mid-late game, I'm just gonna have a better army than you.
Yeah, exactly. He's just building up. I mean, both players are. Like, Classic, he's working towards Storm and Immortals and his second Rebel for Massive Immortal production. At the same time, Rogue is taking up into a Hive, into Lunker Tech as well. Who do we favor coming into this? Worker counts are looking pretty comparable with each other. Rogue, he's on 89, soon to be 90 workers. Likewise, Classic up to 84. So our economies are looking strong, they're looking powerful. But the question becomes, who moves out first? As we're going right into Sky Toss. Oh my god.
Okay, yeah, Fleet Beacon now on the way, as well as a second starport. This is very risky here, coming out from Classic. He is basically, again, just throwing out that gentleman's agreement and banking on Rogue, just hoping that Rogue just doesn't attack him until he hits his final form, but that's not looking too likely, as Rogue himself is about to hit his own final form. It's close to maxing out. He's getting upgrades for his lurkers, he's getting cracklings, and he's looking to hit Classic right when his pants are down.
Yeah, and that's the big thing right now, is that Rogue, he needs to time this out correctly, and he needs to make sure that the pants are down, because the pants, they're coming up slowly, but they're coming up here with the carriers. I'm loving, oh my god, the contamination in the main base. Rogue is aware, and Rogue should be pushing.
Yeah, he knows his army right now is going to be much, much stronger than Classic's for, and this is the only timing where he really does have that army advantage, so he needs to hit while it's hot.
Yeah, exactly, and he is slowly pushing forward. There are Storms here on the high ground, and leads to Storms. Overcharge as well. At the same time, Lings do deny the 5th base. 5th is denied, and we do see Classic coming in for a surround, trying to collapse on these lurkers.
Yeah, decent Storms on the ramp, actually going to be able to take out the lurkers that were within range of that pylon, but not much left here to clean things up. This is a decent concave coming out here from Classic. Reinforcing Lings, though, are on the way. They do get full surrounds on top of these Immortals, but it looks like the Storms and the Archons are going to be just enough to deter this.
Yeah, we clean everything up. Look at the units lost have. That was 7 lurkers going down. A massive round there from a Classic. At the same time, Nidus swarm into the main, but nothing does pop out. We do shut down the Nidus, and Classic holds. And now, as you mentioned, the Pants, they're up.
Oh yeah, they're up, and he's got a belt around him.
Oh yeah.
They ain't gonna fall down easy.
He's got a belt. He's got suspenders.
Yeah?
I don't know. Don't know how else to
He's got another pair of pants. Double pants.
There you go. He's double pantsed, double belted. Beautiful. He's locked down.
Oh yeah.
Locked up.
Yeah. Locked and loaded.
He's wearing a chastity belt.
Yeah. Is that really? Does that help with the pants?
Does it help with the pants? I don't know. It just what it does is even if the pants go down, like it doesn't mean anything, right? It doesn't do anything. Like you're safe anyway.
I see.
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
As for now, the Lings are going to be forced back. The carrier count getting higher and higher, and this means that Rogue gets to slow down. Basically, it's time to turtle. We got lurkers, we got spore crawlers, we got spine crawlers. We have a wall of sack defense on the way here for Rogue. It's time to get into a longer game. We're going to be here for a while.
It's time for Rogue to start getting pants of his own.
Yeah, there you go. It's time to invest.
Go to Taylor, yeah.
Time to get sized up.
Yeah. Taylor's still a thing?
Yeah. Usually people still get tailored. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I mean, people still wear clothes. They still wear pants.
What?
Yeah. It's crazy.
For real?
Yeah.
What does the world come to?
They're animals. Absolute animals. As we get lurkers harassing towards the northern side, for now just getting 3 probe kills. We do see Classic is able to wall up and deter as well, and really both players are refining their armies here. Skytoss, there's a bit of finesse to it. We have carriers, we have Storm, true, but no Tempest yet. We've yet to really embrace that. Usually we don't go into Tempest until we feel like our opponent is going to be going in towards Brood Lords. That would be the tell.
Yeah, Brood Lords and a Spore Forest. It's around the time we want to get that Tempest upgrade that deals bonus damage to its structures specifically.
Oh yeah, we'll see when we do invest into that tectonic destabilizers. For now, Link counterattack getting 3 probe kills. At the same time, Classic is pushing in, but again, he does run into that Spore Forest.
Mr. La-di-da. Tectonic destabilizers. Ooh.
Oh.
Fancy.
I still don't remember the name for Ultra Speed. It always eludes me.
Like metabolic, not boost, but it's metabolic.
It's
I thought
it's
it metabolic was something.
It's not metabolic.
It's not.
It's like anabolic. It's another word.
Anabolic.
Yeah.
Well, it's bolic.
Yeah.
They got balls.
It does. There are a lot of balls on the Ultra.
Oh yeah. More from the Tempest, but you know.
There you go.
You got orange balls and blue balls.
And we've yet to really embrace either of those here. No Ultras or Tempests yet in this EVP, but we have a second Spire that's going to be for double upgrades. It's going to be for the Greater Spire. Rogue is working in that direction here. Now, what I am concerned by is that there's no kind of major economic lead from the Zerg. Usually, at this stage, the Zerg player would have map control. We'd be looking to expand and get a better economy, try to outmine the Protoss. That is not the case here for Rogue.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Rogue isn't going for that gold base right now. Like you said, it's really important for the Zerg player. Even if Rogue can't hold on to that base for too long, it's really, really advantageous for the Zerg player to just deny these bases from their opponent.
Yeah, I guess because of the earlier losses of lurkers, like Rogue essentially has no map control. Without map control, we can see that we're able to roll through. We do snipe 1, we snipe 2 of the carriers.
Yeah, really good yoinks coming out here from Rogue. Couple of good, decent feedbacks will force a Viper to regain its energy. I thought one Viper went down, but actually no. It's not enough not enough energy on the Viper itself to actually take it out.
Yeah, able to top it up, able to transfuse, keep it up and running. At the same time, Classic rotating around, looking for another way in. We do have a Nidus Storm on the right-hand side, and with this, Rogue can try to apply some pressure on these bases. Meanwhile, Classic does activate the cloak.
Yeah, but not gonna do too much when the mothership just gets yoinked.
Oh my god.
Right on top of Queens, Corruptors, and Spore Crawls as well. Unfortunately for Rogue, though, those Corruptors did sit right in the middle of a storm.
They did. They just sat right on top of the storm. You can see how low the Corruptors are. One Archon Volley or one more storm, and the Corruptors are just gonna melt. And with that, Classic does back off. 12 more Corruptors on the way. Would you have to replace that? Would you have to rebuild? And that was not a bad fight for Classic, as he is now embracing those Tempests.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see a lot of balls. We do see tectonic destabilizers finish getting research, so you're seeing a little bit of orange in these Tempest walls.
There you go. There you go, adding a bit of color there. Meanwhile, there's that Greater Spire on the way. But as Rogue is thinking about Broodlords, we're already ready for the Broodlords, right? We already have the Tempest, or Classic is that one step ahead. Likewise, Rogue still contained to this 6-space setup, has yet to expand, and it isn't just the lack of expansions, it's a lack of creep. Like right now, Classic has been doing an amazing job at just maintaining control of the map and denying any kind of creepers, but diving in. Oh!
Ooh, yeah, these Sky Toss units a little bit too slow on the retreat. Tempest and a Carrier will get yoinked and sniped.
We do shut down a couple of those units, so not bad pickoffs here by Rogue. Classic has to retreat for a moment. Likewise, his main army, we're lacking a little bit when it comes to support. We only have the one Archon. That means that we are a little bit vulnerable here to the Corruptors.
Yeah. I mean, we got a couple of High Templar, but storms can do a lot of damage, but it's not really the most efficient cleanup. You don't really want to be relying on storms to really clean up these units here.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's risky, right? It's risky how heavily reliant we are on these storms to zone away and to feedback as well. Like, these High Templar, they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. And there are only 4 of them, so technically it's enough. Got enough energy, but it will require a lot of attention, a lot of APM, and a lot of accuracy in Classic's targeting. Classic actually going to need a player to take that gold.
And you can see Classic already setting up a wall of cannons as well. There is no Chosis pylon powering everything, so we could try to knock this down, but for the time being, there we go. Lurkers are slowly pushing forward. Classic is aware that we have to make a choice. Do we defend the gold base or do we expand on the right-hand side? Regardless, Classic will get a base up and running. Oh!
But we also have a Nidus popping up here towards the natural base. A lot of production is over here. Classic, yeah, forced to recall. He just cannot risk all of his production going down. That was an insta-kill on the Nidus.
There was some emotion behind that insta-kill. That was very aggressive. Nidus does go down. Lings, they do hit the base. We did leave some High Templar back at home to defend, so nicely done here by Classic, leaving units in position. Bearing in mind that the base recall is now on cooldown, but we still have the Mothership recall available if need be, so we'll have to keep track of that. Again, especially when it comes to the late game, recalls do become a resource here for the Protoss.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be relying on trading out energy for money as much as you can.
Classic is going to be clearing up what little tumors there are. Rogue is gaining ground towards the left-hand side. We are laying siege on the base. The creep likewise also spreading as well, and Rogue is taking the gold.
Like so, once again, it's much more important for the Zerg player to be taking the gold base, not just because, you know, they want to be able to get their money and just start throwing units inefficiently as much as possible, but also just to deny the Protoss player from really getting that base and being able to build up all these expensive Sky Toss units.
Oh my god, yes, we do snipe one. We're going to snipe, not quite the second, just the one. Carrier going to be going down initially. Rogue going to be pulling back, investing into additional Vipers. Meanwhile, Classic rotating over. Lurkers are looking a little bit exposed, and the goal of this move out for Classic isn't just to clear up the Lurkers, but the creep and the base as well.
Yeah, I feel like Rogue has definitely tightened up as this game continues. I mean, he is being a lot more patient with his Corruptors. He's starting to look in different directions when it comes to tech, starting to get anabolic boost here for his ultras.
There you go.
And yeah, he's just not really making the same mistakes he was 10 minutes ago, like, say, stacking all of his corruptors on top of storms.
Yeah, we've recovered since then. We're also double expanding, right, bottom left and top right. Classic did not deny the hatchery.
Synthesis. There we go.
Yeah, oh, there you go. I'm like, synthesis. Yeah. It's an odd one. It's an odd one. Yeah, Classic, sorry, Rogue able to double expand and is now going to be able to saturate. This is a big moment here for Rogue. It allows him to build up a bank. What's important right now is the bank, just because if you look at the current resources, Classic and Rogue actually have comparable sizes in that bank. So we do need to try to take a lead there from the side of Zerg.
We absolutely do. Nice destabilizing or depowering of these buildings right here from a Rogue. It's going to lay +3? Yeah, +3 ship armor for quite some time. It's usually odd. I don't usually see Protoss players go... I don't usually see games last long enough for a Protoss player to get +3 ship armor.
It is on the way, and yeah, you know, it's a bit of a rarer treat. We don't often get these longer games. We often see like just faster, chaotic games as well, which is what we mentioned before when it comes to Classic having a different approach this time, where he was a little more passive here against Rogue.
Yeah. He found out that Hero got walked over and decided that he doesn't have to ape it up.
Yeah.
This week.
He's now Hero's not here. I can play like normal. Oh, okay. I don't have to be an animal. Let's go.
Yeah. Switch just never got triggered. Yeah.
Dude.
Or it did, but then it immediately flipped back.
As Classic still marauding around the map, it looks like he's going to be committing to top right. This hatchery should go down, but that's okay. Again, Rogue is happily mining from the gold, at least somewhat. Not fully saturated yet, but I'm sure we'll be getting there.
Yeah, eventually, as we do start to mine out the more established bases towards Rogue side of the map. Huge Ling run by, gonna try to once again depower these buildings, but one Zealot holding the line. He'll be preventing all of that.
Yeah, we have the Zealot, we have the Overcharge at the same time. Rogue's main army is sharking around looking for a stray unit, and it looks like we do find a Tempest.
Not too bad. Can we get another one? We can, but we will lose an Infestor, a Viper, to get there.
Yeah, that was a brutal loss for Rogue, a Viper for a Tempest. Meanwhile, the Ling Rumbai didn't really achieve too much either. We will clean up all the Lings, and now Classic is rotating once again. We do see that Rogue has been sniping like one or two units here and there, but nothing too major yet. Is still just biding his time, waiting for his opportune moments, and hoping to at least take advantage of the gold.
Yeah, slowly starting to saturate it. Slowly starting to main arc his probes over, but still a lot to be desired over there. Nice feedbacks coming out here from Classic. That was... I feel like that storm on the Changelings was unnecessary, but once again, he's not tolerating any nonsense.
No, it feels personal. Oh my god. Calm down, pal. Those rotate around. But yeah, we do see that Classic has been a little bit too tentative with his army movement, as there we go, we force a recall, Ling Ultra counterattack does at least force back the army. But what I was going to say is that because the Lurkers haven't often been with the Corruptors, neither have any Broodlords, we have 0 Broodlords currently, the High Templar, they can definitely be a little bit more forward, they can be a little bit more aggressive here, just try to proactively be ahead of the army and storm, I should say.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot that can really take out these High Templar right now. I mean, yeah, like you said, there are no Broodlords. There's nothing that shoots down. It's just the Lurkers that the ground army really has to worry about right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and we'll see if the Lurkers are going to be in position in time. Classic once again maneuvering out. Top right did just go down, so Classic is denied mining from that north right, or that top right base. Rogue still sharking around and is actually quite heavily investing into additional Lurkers.
Yeah, we'll see if he can really spread them all out. How well he can really spread them across this map, because there are definitely a couple of openings right now for Classic if he ever chose to exploit them, but like you said, he is playing a little scared. He's being very tentative with his ground army specifically.
Oh yeah. has been quite tentative as Classic will find his way, and finally this gold base is going to be shut down. We weren't able to mine too efficiently from it, so there's still a lot of resources left available here at this base.
Yeah, definitely something Classic can take advantage of, and it's unfortunate here for Rogue, as you really do want to be starving out the broadcast player as much as possible. I do kind of like that Rogue is sacrificing his drones at this point, though. He is starting to get super max compared to Classic, who can do a little more, I feel, to get rid of his probes.
Yeah, we do have a pretty high worker count, a bit of an unnecessarily high worker count as we shut down 2 of these lurkers, the Lings as well. Thankfully, most of the army did evacuate with the Nidus Worm, but a nice cleanup there from the Classic. As we just see Rogue once again double expanding, once again mainlining over. Not the best saturation, but is at least taking resources away from Classic here.
And in this stage of the game where he's got a 10k mineral bank, almost 6k gas bank, that's all he really needs to do right now. He is not at all... He's not hurting for resources, let's put it that way.
Yeah, the other important thing to take note of, even though the banks are very large and very comparable to each other, a Protoss army does take a lot longer to rebuild. So if a fight goes awry, if a fight goes badly for Classic too quickly and too heavily, then Rogue can snowball into a win. He can just snowball and just camp the production from there, as we do catch another straight carrier.
And it looks to be the game plan right now, as you do see another flood of Lings go right into the natural base. Corruptors are chasing this carrier. They wanted the carrier just wanted to live.
Carrier gets shut down. Classic, he just keeps on pushing. He commits, he brings down another base, and Rogue is racing back home.
And he will be able to get here, but not before losing a couple of his bases. It's a mined out base, so it's not super important, but even still, it's nice to be able to maintain that production. Army makes it out of here with that recall, even the mothership.
Yeah, we recall towards the center right base, which means we're going for the fresh mining base of Rogue, so a very aggressive recall here from a Classic. Meanwhile, across the map, Nidus Worm does finish in the natural base. This hatchery will fall, and Rogue is going to be losing his fresh mining bases here. Rogue, likewise, with not too much of economy left over, but again, at least has the bank.
Yeah, he is starting to remake his army, making more ultralists here. Synthesized ultras, mind you.
There you go. That's true.
They are fully upgraded.
And Nexus is going to go down. We catch the transferring workers. They're mining gold minerals, and the ultras, they are here to stop them as they're going straight for the Nexus instead. Does force a cancel.
Yeah, okay, the Lings are here. They will stop them. It's like, the ultras are here. They can swipe away. And it's like, oh, no, but they're not.
Yeah.
Like,
they can, though.
Probe's just making it out of here. Good. They didn't, but yeah, thankfully the Lings were able to pick up the slack. Isn't that always the story, you know?
True.
Ultralists, they miss so much, and so do the Lings end up having to do a lot of the dirty work.
Smoke.
Shaking my head. Shaking my head, Zerg.
Give Lings the credit they deserve. As we do see, again, 14 probes going down. That is not insignificant. We did mention before, though, that we did want Classic's probe count to be a little bit lower. So, I mean, you know, in a way, we help out. I mean, look how heavily oversaturated we are. Oh my god, that's a lot of probes.
That's 45 workers in that one mineral line. That's more workers than I typically make in a game.
It's true. It's true. So we do need to get rid of some of them, as there we go, we're going to be long distance mining instead. Likewise, Rogue once again double expanding, yet to really take advantage of these bases. Armies are rotating over, and once again, can we catch... Ooh, this time, High Templar in position!
Yeah, we'll be able to storm some of these Corruptors, but very quick reactions coming out from Rogue. He will pull away, keeping most of his army alive.
Does pull away in time. Classic rotates over. He's going to shut down this bottom left hatchery. At the same time, Rogue going to be able to start mining through top right instead, and I believe the recall is now off of cooldown. So we have both recalls available here for Classic, depending on how he does want to make use of them.
Yeah, just want to recall straight into the main base, which, I mean, it's probably a bad idea. Or does he just want to, continue to recall towards that fifth base location, and keep hammering away at that top right base.
Yeah, we'll
hatchery.
see. especially because Rogue, it looks like he's really committing to saving this hatchery this time. I mean, that's a wall of spore crawlers available. We have lurkers behind this as well. We'll see if Rogue can make this defense happen and can hold on to this base, as Classic is now mining towards bottom left. And there we go, wall of sack defense on the way.
With one pylon to keep it running.
It's true.
And it's an exposed pylon too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's on the opposite side. We'll see.
Not super optimal placement. But...
It's not ideal. It's not ideal. As Lurker's coming in for a bit of a counterattack, they do manage to slip in, but Classic not too far behind. He will shut this down.
Like so. Keeps the gold probes alive as well. Maybe spoke too soon. A lot of them will go down.
11 probes will fall. Rogue is now aware of the location of the army, and now here we go for the first time. Finally, Broodlords are on the way.
Here we go, and with that, Rogue is going to be able to be a little bit more forward with his main army. He's not going to have to, He's not going to have to skirt around kind of the edges of Classic for too much longer, because now he can zone away these High Templar instead of the High Templar zoning away the Corruptors.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting dynamic between these two armies here. As you mentioned, the Broodlords can be a little bit more assertive. You can see they're pushing towards the bases. Meanwhile, Classic is out of position. He's going to have to either recall or go for a counterattack. We'll see how he does respond, as he is turning back around and the Broodlords are going straight for the base.
Yeah, a couple of storms get thrown on top of the Broodlords. Broodlords just a little too slow. All of these Ultralists gonna try to take out the High Templar, but Cloak does get activated, does keep these High Templar alive. Archons, Immortals, Tempests, all of them going to be chipping away at that Ultra army.
Oh yeah. One swipe went off on the High Templar, but they did survive. They're still there in the back line. Underneath the army, still there to support. Meanwhile, Corruptors are coming in. Here comes the first yoinks.
And two carriers will go down.
Carriers go down. The Ultras, they do try to hit the bottom left, but last we have cannons. We have Immortals in the backline as well. This base looking heavily fortified.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good move here from Classic. I mean, these Immortals aren't going to be super useful on the ground anymore. It's, again, all about the High Templar. But they can be used for defense, and they do really well against Ultras, which, funnily enough, Rogue is relying right now as harassment units. It's not Lings, it's Ultras. It's Biglings.
Oh, yeah. They got the Ultras, the main army. Meanwhile, the Broodlords, they bring down this Nexus at the same time. We're trying to hunt down the Broods.
It looks like we will not quite get them. Not yet, anyway, but we are kind of herding the main Zerg army, or the Air Zerg army, into that top right-hand base, giving me a lot less room to maneuver.
Yeah, you see the storms being thrown down on the changelings. The Ultras don't quite commit. As you mentioned before, the goal of these Ultras are to collapse on the High Templar to focus them down. Likewise, it's on Classic to keep those High Templar safe and sound, to zone away those Corruptors. And yeah, Classic not able to break through yet. How many High Templar do we have left? We have 9 High Templar. We have a decent amount of High Templar remaining.
Yeah. Not too bad. And of course, if we count Ultras, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12... 9, 21 High Templar. Although, then again, you probably don't want to count Archons as High Templar, because
So I was confused what you were counting. I was like, what's going on? It's all good. Yeah, true. Archons.
Yeah. Archons.
Okay. That's Classic does rotate over, once again threatening the base. Rogue not in the best position to defend, so it looks like we will start to lay siege.
Slowly but surely. We have full eyes on top of all these 4 crawlers, and orange walls. They make short work of them.
Yeah, we do see the shots going off at the same time. Broodlord's going for a counterattack. The Broodlords are spotted with the Revelation, and Classic, he will back off. It looks like he's forced to respond, forced to defend the gold. Oh, well, what do we go for?
Or is he? Yeah, Classic, he's got options. We're going to storm right on top of this Corruptor army, and he will get a couple. Loses one of his carriers, and doesn't quite take out the... doesn't quite take down any Corruptors here, but chips away at them a little bit.
I mean, it was a good storm. It was one pretty juicy storm there from Classic. Not enough to kill, but enough to soften up the army. At the same time, Ultra Counterattack is going to force a recall. Yeah, the Immortals are forced to recall, and honestly, we could even try to push in just with Immortals, but alas, there are Lurkers to defend. We will require detection, and Classic doesn't gain any ground.
Not yet, anyway. As we're just posturing, we are 35 minutes into game number 1. I'm just realizing now. So yeah, we're just gonna be posturing around.
I didn't realize this was game 1. True.
Yeah.
I mean, we called it before how this is going to be a bit of a longer one. Earlier when we saw the kind of high-tech play from our players, but here we go, we're pushing on forward. The Spore Crawlers will not finish up. We're just blowing our way through. At the same time, Corruptors, they're lying in wait, they're diving in.
Ooh, huge feedbacks on some of these Vipers. Rogue just gonna go straight for the Mothership, and I'm not sure that's the right call. A lot of storms get thrown down. Ultralisk not quite able to take out the High Templar, and Classic takes a massive lead.
Mate, those were insane storms, as you mentioned. The Ultras, they melted against the Immortals. The Tempest stands strong, and Classic, he can keep on pushing, he can keep on going. Meanwhile, Rogue is remaxing. Remember, he has a bank, he's remaxing, but he's actually supply blocked. Overlords are on the way.
Oh no, yeah. That's worrisome to say the least, as Classic is gaining so much ground. Rogue is remaxed, and he has a super maxed army. He literally only has 4 workers remaining. The storms on top of the eggs, though. Gotta kill these Corruptors before they even make it out.
Oh my god, they get completely shut down. Storms on the Lings as well. We are remaxing with Link, Corruptor, Broodlords are coming in. That's a massive wave of Brood. That's 20 Broodlords.
Yeah, and there's really an easy solution to them. Not while we still have Corruptors in the sky.
Oh my god. Rogue just spent his bank. He just spent 5,000 gas.
Bank, yeah.
He had 5,000 gas and he spent
in one
it all.
cycle.
Oh my god. It's crazy.
He can make nothing but Lings now, and he's not mining gas either. He has literally zero mining. I mean, 0 gas mining. He is long distance mining from... not long distance mining, but he's got a couple of minerals he's mining from, but... Yeah, this is going to be the final hurrah of Rogue. If he wants to win, he needs to smash Classic's army here and now, and then keep pushing, but it's not looking too likely.
It is not, and here we go. We're collapsing on top of these Archons. Massive storm on the Lynx, and we get a storm on the Corruptors. Looks like we somewhat can. Broodlords are going ham with the back line, but if we can deal with all the Corruptors, then the Tempest can go ham. It's going to be close.
Going to be real close. These Overseers are the absolute MVPs right now, allowing Rogue to completely ignore the Mothership, and I cannot believe it, like, Rogue. He's taking this fight.
Somewhat. We have a flanking storm coming into play. The Corruptor count is completely reset, and the problem is that Classic has a bank. Classic has 4,000 gas in the bank. We have Void Rays on the way, and where are the Corruptors? We have 2 Corruptors. That is all the anti-air we have. That's all the anti-air we're ever going to get.
Yeah, very impressive here from Rogue to be able to take that fight, but that was just one battle in this 40-minute long war. That was, again, the final hurrah of Rogue, and he wasn't able to stop Classic then and there. Classic, he does need a little bit of time to rebuild his Void Rays. Actually going to be rebuilding Carriers now. It's a little bit of time, but he has it. He has it.
Exactly.
There's absolutely nothing Rogue can do to really stop him at this point.
Yeah, the problem is that Rogue, because he has no gas, can only make Lings, and he just burned through his mineral bank as well. He just burned through the mineral bank, so Rogue, he is broke, he's out of resources, he's completely out of money. There are resources on the map, but Rogue just doesn't really have any way to really make use of them at the moment. And as time goes on, Classic will be able to rebuild and refine his army. And yeah, GG gets called, the writing is on the wall, and Classic takes game 1.
That was only game number 1. As a reminder to all of you watching back home, whoo! GG, very patient play coming up from both of our players here, but yeah, right towards the end there, it looks like Rogue was kind of the first one to snap in a way, kind of sensing an opportunity that wasn't really there when he dove in with his Ultras, with his Corruptors, without his Vipers, which I think is really the main factor in that initial engagement. If he did have those Vipers up and running, if we had a couple of parabombs, if we were able to get maybe a couple of blinding clouds as well, but mostly parabombs on top of that army, I think we would have seen a completely different result. I think we might have even seen a rogue victory then and there, but yeah, a classic, very on top of things, very on top of his feedbacks, was able to prevent that and kind of win the engagement even before it happened.
Oh yeah.
And as a result, Rogue survived, but was never able to really get back on equal footing.
Yeah, like, I mean, you called it at the start of the fight, right? It's like the fight started with feedbacks. Like the fight, as soon as the fight began, bam, like 2, maybe all 3 Vipers were feedback immediately from the High Templar, and as a result, like there was very little support for Rogue. He had already committed to the fight, and we saw that unfortunately Rogue just did not have a large enough bank to really work with, and the fight didn't go well enough for him either to be able to snowball into a win. And with that, we're getting into game 2.
Indeed we are, which, you know, after a long game like that, usually, especially from our Korean players, I expect a short one, but hey, we're spawning into Elkione for game number 2, which doesn't necessarily lend itself too well to all-ins, aside from a couple of very figured out ones. But regardless, we are in Elkione for game number 2, and over here in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left, we of course have our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing Team Falcons. We have Rogue.
It's like a wild cat. What was that? There was no bird involved there, Yaku. What's going on? You're like, Team Falcons, scrap.
Yeah.
Okay. Scrap. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is a classic, leading the series and 1 game away from advancing on into the next round.
Yeah, which he probably has an opponent, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to imagine by now, yeah.
Yeah, we were hearing some updates earlier. Yeah, but when it comes to this matchup here, I mean, when it comes to Classic, even especially in the absence of Hero, if Hero is not here, Classic, he's got to step it up, right? He's got to represent Protoss here in this tournament and do what a Hero otherwise would, take the win.
Yeah. Oh, that's where you're going with that. Okay. I think just, you know, be brazen and just you know, throw down a gateway right in front of his Zerg opponent. You know, taunt them. You know, like, all you gotta do is stab me. And they get stabbed.
I'm not saying go full Hero. I'm not that crazy. Not that crazy.
Never go full Hero. Yeah.
Only Hero can go full Hero, and even then, it only works half the time.
Yeah.
But we love him for it, though. We love him for it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's a trademark, you know.
You know why I think I've fallen more and more in love with Hero, especially in modern StarCraft. I think Hero is the most patience player that we have.
Yeah, that's where I was going with.
Yeah.
Especially in these online events, he just looks so patient. And I don't mean that. And I don't mean that he's playing patiently. No, in quite the opposite, really.
He's playing like
he's like patient in the sense that he just
the player
does not give a damn. Throws all caution to the wind and just says, "Yeah, I'm gonna blink right on top of your lurkers. What are you gonna do?" Oh, my sockets are dead.
I like that as soon as I was like, "Yo," he's playing like patience. He's like, "Yo, let's go." True. You're on board.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Hero has always kind of been that that kind of crazy and kind of how would I describe it? I don't want how would I describe it? Just like no fear kind of player in a sense. Just like caution to the wind, rebel without a cause style, but never quite to the same extent as somebody like Patience. But yo, in recent months, in recent weeks, he's been stepping it up in that regard.
He has. Unfortunately not here tonight, but regardless, you know, has definitely kind of left his mark in StarCraft and in the current
And
Korean meta.
And you know what? I feel that because Hero is also kind of that more, shall we say, influential player compared to Patience. I love Patience, but he was never really like on a lot of people's radar. Because Hero's more influential, I feel like he's kind of spreading the word of Patience to other Protoss players, especially Classic here.
True.
We haven't been able to see it from Classic tonight so far. Game number 1 was very patient. Not patience, but I have to imagine that we'll be seeing it a little bit from him as the series continues.
I would hope so. As for the time being, it's going to be a standard opener out of Classic, going for a triple Oracle into a third base. Adepts have arrived to harass, poke, and prod. It's on road to keep up. So far, 3 drones going down, but we are able to maintain ourselves. And we can see back at home, Classic just going for a Twilight Council into a Forge. It's looking like a standard game so far.
Yeah, so far, pretty good here. Coming up from Classic. Little poke and prod and apply enough pressure onto Rogue that he's not quite able to get to his full economy just yet.
Yeah, so we do split off some Adepts, but they're going to be shut down. One Adept is going to be falling. At the same time, we're just really focusing on clearing up creep. Active tumors are being focused down time and time again, just trying to maintain map control, contain Rogue for as long as possible, and we do have a bit of a gateway explosion behind this. I believe last game we stayed on 4 gateways a little bit longer. This time we're building up towards 6.
Yeah, so very different from what we saw in game number 1 here from Classic. This time I have to imagine that he is in fact going to be going for that blink +1 timing. He does get scouted though by Rogue.
Is going to be spotted. Big moment here for Rogue. Even though he does lose 5 drones across the map, he does confirm the gateway explosion, is aware that his opponent can be more assertive and more aggressive. As I say that, Temple Archives is going to be thrown down at the natural, so once again, we're teching up.
Okay, another, I don't want to say slow one coming out here from Classic, but another more reserved and more kind of passive play this time.
Yeah, and this could be the beginning of another long one, because as Classic takes his Temple Archives, as he's taking up towards Storm, as we throw down a 4th base, likewise, a fast infestation bit out of Rogue, and this should be to rush into Lurkers.
Well, I say slowly but surely, but we're already on the way. We're already getting there. I don't believe we have a Hydra Den just yet, but we're going to be getting our high very, very soon, and we're going to be able to get our Lurker upgrades. Rogue is setting up a drop, but I can't imagine that's his end game here.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, there's the Hive, right? The Hive is on the way, so Rogue is taking up towards Lurker Tech or towards Hive Tech. Now, what I find interesting is that we're going for Dropperlord Harass. We have Overlord Speed and Dropperlords morphing in, so we're going for a bit of an earlier push here despite teching up, and I'm curious if we're going to be committing. I'm wondering if we're going for some Dropperlords to harass or if we're going for like a pseudo German taxi.
Yeah, we shall see. We're seeing a lot of variations on the German taxi. We're kind of seeing the, some variations on that style coming out from players like Solar, who has modified it a little bit to include a little bit of a drop into the main base. Raynor is very fond of that style, dropping into main base with Lings while pushing with Queens and Roaches.
Yeah, speaking of, there it is. We have Lings dropping towards the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Rogue pushes right through the center. The storm is insane, though. Massive storm on the Roach Ravager. Lings are caught in the stasis as well, and we are looking to hold the line. Another massive storm.
Oh my. This is straight up the most perfect defense I've seen in a long time against a play like this. Now, the Drop Lord is still going to go ham in that natural base. I say that, but actually, yeah, very quick reaction, very quick warp in. Classic is able to defend here, only losing 3 probes? Are you kidding me?
And he saved the overcharge until now. He just now popped the overcharge. A little bit unnecessary, but he does hold the line here. 3 probe kills, and Classic does hold, and now Classic is miles ahead. Look at the probe count. Look at the economy here.
My lord, look at the units lost tab. That is absolutely insane. That is as close to a perfect defense against this pseudo-German taxi. What's in between Germany and Italy? Switzerland? A Swiss minivan, caravan, shall we say. That's as close to a perfect defense as I think you could have gotten.
Yeah, and that was such a weird build out of Rogue because, hey, we have a Hive, right? The Hive did complete and we're working towards Lurkers and Hive tech, but we were very all in because of the drone count.
Yeah.
We were on 66
Very
drones.
committed.
Like, yeah, a very low worker count for Rogue, but to still go for the Hive, like, it was very odd to see, and I'm curious how this all plays out. In my opinion, it's looking a little bit dire here for Rogue, but we'll see if it pays off.
He's got a lot of catching up to do, yeah.
Yeah.
And he is trying to catch up as best he can. He did create a massive round of drones. He is getting his Hydras, he's getting his Lurker Den, he's upgrading his Hydras and getting his Hive Tech, but I'm just looking at the standing armies right now, and Classic is looking nigh unstoppable compared to what Rogue has on the map.
And the other scary thing, we will have access to Lurkers, but these are going to be lair tech Lurkers to defend, and we're going to need them. They're going to be necessary to hold, but I'm not sure if we even can. Meanwhile, the Lynx are distracting the main army. They do keep Classic pinned back a little bit longer. Any time that we can buy is crucial here. Lurkers are on the way, 4 of them.
4 of them are about to pop out, but only 4 of them, and more crucially, they are vanilla Lurkers. There's still a lot that Classic can do here with this mass amount of Immortals and High Templar. As long as he's able to keep his High Templar away from Lurker volleys, again, he just has so much momentum outside. It's very hard to see Rogue pushing this back.
Yeah, we'll see if he can pull off a miracle here. Storm's going to be zoning away, but we have plenty more Storms behind this. Lurkers are massing. We have 6 Lurkers. The Storms are insane. They connect with the Lurkers. They're pushing in.
Yeah, they connect with just about every single Lurker, and GG is called. Classic, after a very long and patient game number 1, takes a very decisive and quick game number 2. GG, very nicely done. Very, very well done here from Classic in game number 2. Just about perfect reactions to that all. To be fair, you were pointing it out. It was a little bit of a weird build coming out from Rogue, but even still, there was a lot of potential for damage to be done. Maybe if not in that initial push, then at least with that drop alert, but Classic only lost 3 probes. That was insane.
Yeah, it was a very odd build. Just to wind it back a little bit for those that are curious as what happened in the kind of finale of game number 2 there. Rogue, he cut works at 66 and he set up for a German taxi for a Roach Ravager Ling Queen all-in. But we were also teching up into an Infestation Bit, into a Hive as well, so that means that resources were spent elsewhere, which means that the all-in was weaker. At the same time, we were all in, so like we were kind of hurting ourselves there, and that I'm sure also led to how Classic was able to hold. I mean, despite that, it was still a very impressive hold, and because of the initial defense, then Rogue fell behind. Sure, he had a Hive, and that was something he was able to fall back on, but we saw that he just didn't have the economy to sustain himself and to keep up.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to that golden rule, right? When you commit, you gotta commit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You can't go middle of the road here with these kind of builds, especially at this level of play as well. Clearly, as we can see, Classic will punish you if you don't commit.
Exactly. Smite you.
There you go.
With, just, again, I cannot get over that hold once again. That was probably the perfect stasis that Classic could have gotten, and then just beautiful storms on top of the rest of the entire army, one after the other. Even taking out the drop alert, so no creep could be spread, no transfuse potential was there. And I mean, even still, even if we did have transfuse, I can't imagine Rogue getting too much done with that.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
It was impressive. It was impressive. And again, it goes to show like why Classic is one of the best Protoss players in the world. He's top 2 in Korea and one of the best period out there. So yeah, Classic is definitely one to keep an eye on in this tournament, and we'll see if anyone can knock him down. We have some updates. We've been having a lot of results coming in on the bracket.
We do have some updates. We have a couple of results coming in, and I gotta say, I'm surprised that we actually don't have an opponent for Classic yet.